Okay, this is the homework help video for Honors Math 3, Unit 5, Worksheet 4. So I'm going to start with number 3. So for question number 3, we want to rewrite it in radical form. So I have a decimal, so I want to convert that into a fraction. So that would be y and 1 and 1/4, right? So 0.25 is 1/4, and then change that to an improper fraction. So 4 times 1 plus 1. So that would be 5/4. And then as a radical, so I have y to the 5th, so y to a power of 5, and then the denominator a root of 4. And then let's take a look at number 9. So in this case, we want to rewrite it into exponential form. So then I have 2xy is my radicand. And then I have a power of 6 and a root of 3. So that would be 6/3. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2. And so I have 2xy quantity squared. And then I can simplify that a little bit further if I wanted to, but it's asking for it just in exponential form, so I would just leave it like that. And then let's take a look at number 15. So for question number 15, so I want to simplify. So I have a common base of 3, so that means I just want to add my powers. So I have, keep the base of 3 the same, don't change that, and then add your powers. So I have 1/2 plus 1/2, so that would be 1 plus 1 is 2, and then over the common denominator of 2. So then that would just be 3 to the 1st, which is just 3. And then let's go ahead and take a look at number 18. So for number 18, so I want to rewrite that as a fraction. So I have 243 to the 8/10 power. And so I'm going to reduce my fraction. So divide out of 2. And then I want to rewrite it as a radical. So 243 to the power of 4, and then the denominator is my index. So the 5th root of 243 to the 4th. So I don't want to actually figure out what 243 to the 4th power is, because that is too much, right? I don't want to figure out that without a calculator. So I'm going to do a 5th root of 243. So I'm trying to figure out like what number times itself will give me 243. And then that would be 3. So 3 times itself 5 times would give me 243. So then this part right here is equal to 3. And then we still have the power of 4. And so then when I do that, then I'm working out 3 times 3 is 9. And then 3 times 3 is 9 again. And 9 times 9 is 81. Okay. And then let's go ahead and take a look at number 27. So for here we want to write each expression in simplest form, and we're assuming all variables are positive numbers. So I have this to the 2/3 power, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that. Just kind of distribute that in first here. So I would have the cube root, actually I'm not going to distribute it in, sorry, cube root of all of this and then squared. Okay, so I have the cube root of all of that squared. So I'm going to go ahead and break this apart just a little bit, because I can square this out and I can square this, but I don't want to square this, right? That's like a lot of work. So I'm going to do my numbers separate. So I have the cube root of 125, and I'm going to have that be squared. So I'm going to be doing that problem separate. Hold on. Okay, so scratch that, because that just seems like all of a sudden this problem got like a whole lot harder than it needed to be. So we're going to do that all over again. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I started to do first because that makes a little bit more sense. I think it'll be a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 2/3 into all of this. So I'll have 125 to the 2/3, and then x, and then when I distribute the powers, I need to multiply them. So I'm going to do 6 times 2/3. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then 1 times 3 is 3. So when I distribute, I multiply my powers. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my y term. So I'm going to multiply. So I'll get 2 over 6. So whenever we have power to a power, we multiply. And then I'm going to go ahead and reduce my powers here. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then 2 divided by 6 would be 1/3. Okay, and then now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this part. So I have, oops, so then this would be the cube root of 125 and then squared, and then I still have x to the 4th and then y to the 1/3. So the cube root of 125 is 5, and then 5 squared is 25. And there's my answer. Okay. All right, and then let's take a look at the back side. So we're going to take a look at 39 here. So for question number 39, I'm going to be raising everything to the 3/2 power, right? So I'm going to go ahead and distribute that into everything. So numerator and denominator. So then that would be 27 to the 3/2. And then here I'm going to distribute. So I multiply my powers when I have a power to a power. So 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 2 is 2. So I'll have 12 over 2, which is 6. And then here I'll have 48 to the 3/2. And then again multiply power, so power times a power. So 2 times 3 is 6. And then 1 times 2 is 2. So I'll have 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Okay, and then now I'm going to simplify each of these numbers. So this will be 27 is to the 3rd power, and then the root of 2. So square root of 27 cubed. And then the square root of 48 cubed. So the square root of 27 and then cubed. So I can't actually do that as a square root, but what I do see though is I can divide something out of 27 and 48. So both of these are divisible by 3, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 3. So then when I do that, I'll get the square root of 9 cubed. And then divide that by 3, so that would be 16. So then the square root of 9 is 3, and then 3 cubed is 27. And then the square root of 16 is 4, and then 4 cubed is 64. So right at the beginning, I should have noticed that I could divide a 3 out of both of these, so I should have done that first. And that would have saved me, you know, like a little bit of a step, I guess. And so dividing by 3 here or here doesn't matter as long as I divide out that 3. And so here, so divide 27 by 3, that's how I got the 9. If I divide the top by 3, I have to divide the bottom by 3 as well. And so 48 divided by 3 is 16. And then that makes it a whole lot easier to simplify, because then I have the square root of 9, which is 3, and then times itself 3 times gives me 27. And then the square root of 16 is 4, and then 4 times 4 times 4 gives me 64. Okay. All right, and then let's go ahead and take a look at a couple in the bottom section. So for question 45, so we want to rationalize all our denominators. So for 45, I'm trying to do a cube root. So I want to look at this as the cube root, And then 16 is the same as 4 squared. And c is c to the first. So if I can break it to powers, I want to try to do that. So 16 is 4 squared. And then c is just c to the first. So I know that to rationalize the denominator, I need groups of 3 for everything because I'm doing a cube root. So right now I need groups of 3. So here I have 2 groups of 4. So that means I need another 4 because that would give me a group of 3 because I have 2 of them here, so I need 1 more. And then for my c's, I only have 1 c right now, so I need 2 more to make a group of 3. So this will give me a group of 3 down here and a group of 3 right here. And so whatever I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. So then when I multiply the top, I'm going to get just 1 times that. And then here, so since I have a group of 3 4s and a group of 3 c's, then this whole thing would just turn into 4c, right? Because if I rewrote this, so that would be my answer. But just to make sure you understand that. So if I rewrote this, I would have 4 squared times 4, so that would be 4 cubed. C to the first times c squared would be c cubed. And so I'm taking the cube root of 4 cubed c cubed, which would just be 4c. Okay? All right, and that's it for this video.